Plausible deniability is convenient. It's in all the little lies we tell ourselves so that we can continue doing what we want whilst ignoring the inconvenient truths behind our decisions. I'm not one to judge. I do it too. We all do. There are loads of minor decisions that we make throughout our lives where we turn a blind eye to the negative consequences of our actions so that we can just do what we like for a change. And the most common way we do that is by minimizing the impact we believe it will have, or minimizing our role in those impacts. And individually, those decisions are relatively unimportant. In fact, the average person can go years making these kind of small decisions to ignore the negative consequences without actually causing any negative consequences they can see. And though those decisions add up, and entire populations doing them add up, there is a degree to which it's impossible to go through life without doing it sometimes. This can be something as minor as just eating something you know you shouldn't because you know it's unhealthy. But it's just a treat, or one last time, or I was having a bad day. And that's fine. Everyone needs their little pleasures. However, the problem comes is when this plausible deniability, this step of distance away from real impacts, starts having real consequences. And one place I see this all the time is in people defending continuing to consume and promote the works of JK Rowling. Every single time you see a video or a post condemning people for continuing to consume JK Rowling's products, you will see an absolute barrage of responses minimizing the impact that people are having and their role in that impact. Things like, she's already a billionaire, a small amount of extra cash wouldn't matter. Or thousands and millions of other people are buying these games, buying these books. If I do as well, it doesn't matter. Yeah, she talks about things on Twitter all the time, but Twitter isn't that big a deal. Yeah, but what has she said really that's that bad? Point me at it. Give me the evidence. Show me every single time she said something bad, and show me just how bad it must be that I don't buy a game. It's all about minimization, because if it can be minimalized enough, then someone can have the plausible deniability to continue doing whatever they want and not pay attention to the impact. Just put it to the back of their mind and stop thinking about it. Because that's all they want to do. They want to just continue doing whatever they want to do in perfect comfort and have no one bring up the consequences that doing what they want might have. Are they really making a financial difference to JK Rowling? Is she really that bad? Is anything she's said really had any consequences? Is there any proof that she's actually using her money to enable transphobic hate groups? Because if you can't prove all those things, why are you bringing that up? Why are you making me feel bad? And in the end, they're not arguing to try and convince you. They're arguing to convince themselves that they can stop worrying about it. Well, this week, that ability to have a plausible deniability of the distance between funding JK Rowling through her work and funding transphobic hate movements became a lot harder. Because of this. Receipt of a donation by JK Rowling to a fundraiser. And we're not talking change here, we're talking transformative amounts of money. £70,000 donated. And you might wonder what this case must be for that is so important, that she is saying is a truly historic case, that requires her to donate so much money that you could fund the entire salaries of 2 NHS nurses for an entire year of this. The court case is round 3 of For Women Scotland's case against the Scottish Government to try and change what the definition of woman is in its application to law, so that it would exclude trans women from the definition. It's an explicit attempt to overcome the Gender Recognition Act, the defining act that gives rights to trans people, so that they cannot be considered the gender that they live as under the law. As if the case itself wasn't horrendous enough, the group behind it is absolutely unhinged. I've spoken about For Women Scotland on this channel before, both because they've targeted me personally, because the person who runs their Twitter account is weirdly spiteful and grudge-bearing, but also because they have a long history of just being genuinely completely unhinged. Like this most famous example where they accuse a ginger cat of sectarianism because their owner had a Twitter account for the cat in which it was called the Orange Boy. Why did they do this? Because the cat's owner was involved in raising money for a trans charity. So they decided to tag in the leader of a political party, now a minister in the Scottish Government, in order to accuse a cat of being sectarian. This organisation is now cheering the fact that they've essentially just had an entire dumpster of cash poured into their laps by JK Rowling. Someone whose wealth and so capacity to throw around this amount of cash is entirely dependent on the royalty checks that she gets off her properties, namely Harry Potter. There is a direct link, no plausible deniability, between the cash made from buying Harry Potter games, from promoting the books, from producing new films and TV shows based on the franchise, and her pockets, and the pockets of a hate campaign seeking to strip trans people of their rights in the UK. And for the doubters who are wondering, why would that matter? She's a billionaire. There's a lot of this kind of cash she can throw around before it even impacts her earnings. Know that she openly uses the weight of her royalties as an excuse to continue this campaign of hatred against trans people. As she quotes feeling no remorse over all the fans she's lost so far because the money is still rolling in. So yeah, I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry if it makes you uncomfortable that I'm pointing out the direct link between buying Harry Potter merch and promoting the Harry Potter world and promoting the books as a creator on TikTok and a hate campaign that is harming people. In the last few months, we have had 2 trans kids lose their lives at the hands of people motivated by transphobia. And these are just the ones that have managed to hit the headlines. And whilst trans people are struggling under the weight of the hate campaign being waged against them, and people are losing their lives, can you still turn a blind eye and claim plausible deniability when the direct links are that clear? There are millions of other books out there, thousands of TV shows and films, dozens of wonderful universes to explore. When the request is just not to spend money on this one property, and instead spend it somewhere else or just keep it to yourself, is it really that hard an ask? And if you still just want to do it and want to lie to yourself about the impact, is it too much to ask that you just keep it to yourself and don't broadcast how little you want to care about those other people who are struggling? If you want to lie to yourself, keep it to yourself. We don't want to know.